and also stick to your needs over your wants, because sometimes first-time home buyer doesn't know what's realistic to them.
Make sure you know your credit bureau. Know what your score is, know the items on your credit bureau. You do not need a car loan. You do not need a large line of credit with a balance on it. Those will only impact what you're able to qualify for.
Hi everyone, it's Mild today. Welcome to Mild Homes. And this is my new episode of Speaking with Professionals. And today I would like to introduce you to one of the earliest contact. If you talk to me, I will introduce you to so many professionals. And this is probably going to be the first one that I would introduce you to, which is Spyro! Most of you are probably already know Spyro from me speaking, because this is probably one of the first steps. Like anyone wants to buy a home, upsizing, downsizing, you need to know your finance, right? So why don't we start by having Spyro introduce himself, a little bit of background about yourself so people get more familiar with you.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Mild. Thrilled to be your first podcast, Speaking with Professionals.
Yes.
So a little bit about my background. This is now my 27th year in financial services, 23 years with a major financial institution. This is now my 4th year owning and managing my own mortgage brokerage that exclusively focuses on real estate financing.
Yes.
So many years in real estate financing, definitely a passion for it. I think owning a home for most people is the goal and dream, yet has become more and more complex and costly. So important to have a team of professionals helping people navigate the home buying process and journey.
And I know your team is growing like crazy.
Yes, we're 18 brokers now in the Onward Lending Group. So thrilled with the growth and more and more people that we can help get into their home.
That's super fun, and probably wanted to talk to you more about how you grow your journey in other episodes, because I'm also planning to do with entrepreneurs as well, someone like you, because Spyro has also have a, I would say, humble beginning, but so far he has a very interesting path and have done so many successful, so inspiring.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's hear from him in other episodes. Today, we are going to talk about mortgage financing. So either it's first-time home buyer, upsizer, or downsizer. I would like to ask this question because so many people wanting to know what's going on with their finance. How can I get into my first home? Let's dive right in.
Sure. Happy to do so. So speaking of entrepreneurs, Mild, you've had a very interesting journey as well.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell your audience a little bit about how you went from owning so many businesses, being a serial entrepreneur, as you like to call yourself, to a successful real estate agent.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that question is definitely a lot of people wanting to know how. And I would say I always have passion for building businesses. And it's also like in my blood. My parents are from China, immigrating to Thailand, and he settled there. And literally coming from nothing to be able to send me to Canada International School, it's a big jump. So for me, having that entrepreneurial journey from my background really helps pushing me to always think outside of the box and have the mindset that if they can do it, I can do it too. And I've owned everything from, like, not everything, but I've owned things from restaurant, hair salon, and now it's real estate. And it felt really natural to me because the best part of businesses for me is to connect with people, and with real estate is helping them moving through their biggest milestone is very rewarding to me.
Absolutely. No, I agree.
Well, what about yourself? What inspired you to help first-time home buyer, downsizer, or upsizer in their real estate journey?
Well, again, the goal of most people is home ownership. It's people's dreams. And I mean, home ownership, it's your shelter, it's stability, both financial and physical. And it can also be a legacy. So it's amazing the things that real estate can do for you and your family. So showing people and demonstrating how they can make real estate a part of their investment portfolio, or to get those first-time home buyers into the home of their dreams, or upsizers and downsizers to meet their goals and the needs of their family, whether it be growing or shrinking. Showing people that it's possible and what options exist is very rewarding, life-changing. So Mild, tell us what inspired you to help first-time home buyers or people already in the market looking to make a move.
Yes, many factors, but I believe that for first-time home buyers, normally it's the fear of the unknowns. They're often very curious about what about this? What does it mean? And really, a lot of questions are genuine, and I love helping first-time home buyer because of that. And upsizers normally with the expansion of their family, or the downsizer is normally we dealing with the emotional or the memories that tie to their home.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's guiding as a guide of helping people through their milestones. I've seen firsthand how real estate can be very overwhelming. For example, for first-time home buyers, it's always the fear of the unknowns. For downsizer, it's the emotion, the memories that tie to the home. And the upsizer is the needs of more space, more kitchen, more bedrooms. So for me, I love stepping in as a guide to help them through the process and to make sure that they make the decision that will be empowering their lifestyle. So I think a lot of people, when they come to me, they have the mindset that, oh, their finance is this much, or they don't really know of the truth. I find the truth of mortgages. So what are the misconceptions in mortgages that you can share with us?
So the most common misconceptions are what people qualify, but also what's important to financial institutions and different lenders. And the fact is, many lenders have many different products out there and different policies. So someone that's only dealt exclusively with one financial institution may have some assumptions that this is the only amount that they qualify for, or this is the only way they can get approved. Whereas there are a number of lenders out there with many different policies. So it's so important to have a lending professional help navigate that and find the best solution out there for them. The other interesting thing is that the best rate doesn't always equal the best solution for a customer. It also doesn't always equal saving the most money. A lot of mortgages have many different features, and it's all about understanding the individual circumstances of the borrower, of the home purchaser, and finding the best solution to meet those needs and circumstances.
I think that's so true. Some people like to go to one bank, or how many banks that they can actually go through to get the best rate?
Well, there's a lot of lenders out there. So there are all the banks, but there's also credit unions. There's also international banks, and there's also what's known as monoline lenders out there. And all of them have great solutions for individual needs. For much larger mortgages, we typically will use the larger financial institutions. But for smaller mortgages, smaller purchases, high ratio mortgages, sometimes the monolines can offer better options. So ultimately, there are many lenders out there, and it's important to work with a lending professional to find the best solution for you.
Yeah, well, let's focus on maybe first-time home buyer.
Sure.
And ask about, I'm sure a lot of my subscribers also have many questions, because most of the people in my Thai community is looking to buy their first home. Okay, and the question,
what's the advice that you give those? What's the best advice that you have for a first-time home buyer?
First-time home buyer, start with solid plan. by going to get a mortgage, talking to a mortgage broker like yourself, knowing their limits, because the financial parameter is the most important, because like $50,000 can make a huge difference in the search parameter. You get a totally different product. So talking to Spyro, talking to a mortgage broker or your bank, making sure that you know your budget, and also stick to your needs over your wants, because sometimes first-time home buyers doesn't know what's realistic to them. So stick to that plan is definitely the most important. Find someone that also give you the unconditional, unlimited access of questions as well, because I'm sure a lot of questions are new, and to me there's never the question that is too small. And thank you to you, because anything I don't have the answer, I also can give so many people a call to ask for the answer as well. So I love working with first-time homebuyer because of that, because the question is so genuine, and I just want to make sure that they get the big picture, so that they can make the well-informed decision in their lives.
Questions are so important. There's so much information out there.
Right.
I don't know what the borrower doesn't know. So I go through a fairly thorough initial process and attempt to answer every question they may have. But a lot of times we shouldn't assume that our home buyer knows even the most basic information about home buying. They are first-time home buyers. So yes, encouraging them to ask every question they may have is so important.
Yeah, it's crucial. Yeah. And we are happy to help answer any questions. Like, that's what I tell everyone. Like, drop me a comment, shoot me a text. Definitely, there's no questions that's too small. So we're looking forward to hear from you guys. Okay, so what are the key steps then? If a first-time home buyer want to come in, what's a key step to get a mortgage?
The first step, and you always recommend this, is talk to your mortgage professional. And I would encourage that as well. Have your financial home in order. So make sure your taxes are up to date. Make sure you have your financial information. Make sure you know your credit bureau. Know what your score is, know the items on your credit bureau. And please, if you're thinking about buying a home, please speak with your mortgage professional before making any other major purchases. I can't stress that enough, because any purchase could have an impact on what you're able to qualify for. And we're talking about car purchases, loans, leases, lines of credit, any major trips. Very, very critical.
That's so funny, because when you bring it up, I have so many faces that pop into my mind of, oops, they made this purchase, that's why they couldn't qualify, or oops, they came to me because they didn't talk to a mortgage broker before and now they have to sell because they can't afford it, unfortunately. Or they forgot that they lost their job last year and that's why they can't qualify for this time. So plan early is definitely the key.
And no long-term loans until you speak with your mortgage professional. I mean, some individuals do have the capacity to have an additional payment, but most first-time home buyers do not. And when you take out a loan, there is a common misconception out there that you need a credit history with multiple credit products. A few credit cards, a couple credit cards, 2 credit cards is often enough to give you a good credit history, provided it's been in existence for 2 years, 2 or 3 years. And even if it hasn't, a lot of lenders have exceptions if you've only had a credit history for 1 year. Use your credit card, don't go close to the limit, and don't carry a balance. And that's all you need for a credit score. You do not need a car loan. You do not need a large line of credit with a balance on it. Those will only impact what you're able to qualify for.
That's such a great tip. Listen to that. Is there a thing that is too many credit cards? Remember, we were talking about that with a client.
Yes. More than 3 can be too many. Yes, I remember someone that thought, they had, what was it, 12 or 13 of them?
Yes, 12. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a dear friend of mine.
I wasn't going to say.
And he knows. Now we know.
Yes.
Now everyone knows that there's always a balance of everything, right?
Now, once a first-time home buyer is qualified, I mean, this market can be so overwhelming. And if they're just qualified and they're first-time home buyers, how do you help them actually make a winning offer?
Such a great question, because I think of so many situations when we were in a competitive market. Strong, clean offer is always the key, and really that some people might not know, but having close relationship with listing agent can make a huge difference. Because like I recall one young couple who really want this condo next to the SkyTrain, and we were in such a competitive market. We're talking about like over 10 offers per one. We remember that kind of market, right? Well, things shift so quickly.
Don't say.
But at that time, I remember like I make sure that I communicate with the listing agent, making sure that they know how serious my clients are and how readiness we were at that time. And the listing agent actually chose our offer, even though our bidding price was not the highest, but they know that this deal would not fall through.
Interesting how that works.
Yeah. So I'm very proud of that one, especially. First time home buyer, I think this is probably the most asked question. How much of the minimum down payment that you need to have to buy a home in Canada?
So yes, very, very common question, because of course, one of the biggest challenges is saving money in a city that's this expensive to live in with all the rising costs. Up to $500,000, the minimum down payment you need is 5%, which is $25,000. Anything over and above 500 requires a 10% down payment. So for example, if we were looking at something at a 700,000, you'd be looking at 25,000 on the first $500,000, and then an additional 20,000 on the remainder, which would mean 45,000. Being tested on my math online here would mean 45,000 on a $700,000 purchase.
You have to see my mind go like,
yeah.
I go blank.
My numbers are always working.
Of course.
Now, the moment that a potential borrower can get 20% down, that's when we have a little more flexibility and a few more options. Anything under 20%, so the minimum all the way up to 19.99%, the lending criteria are a little more rigid, and a few less options for homeowners, potential homeowners.
Right, but we always recommend 20%, right?
All else being equal.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
However, it would have to depend on the situation.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so important to have a professional navigate that process for you. True. I'll give you an example.
Yes, love example.
So there are cases where 20% down may not be the best solution for a customer. Although there's less costs in putting a larger down payment, at least 20%, because there are certain fees and premiums that you pay when you put less than 20% down. But in one example, if a potential homeowner is carrying very high interest debt, it may make sense to pay off that debt and put less down on a home purchase.
That's true.
So again, I can't emphasize how important it is to get in front of a mortgage professional to work out those calculations for you and recommend the best solution.
Yes, definitely. Well, anyone who asking what is it, that's why it's so important to just sit down, talk. Everyone's so different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of talking with homeowners, how do you manage downsizers, both the emotional and financial considerations that are met?
For downsizer, it's definitely more than just numbers. They love the memory in that home, the emotions that tie to the home, like kids running around in the hallway, and now they already move on and they also have to move on as well. And for me, to guide them in the new chapter, focusing on the positives of the new chapter and ensuring that they get the best value of their home right now that they deserve in order to move forward with confidence.
Of course. And what are some of the things you recommend to prepare their home for sale?
decluttering, staging, because the buyers doesn't need to know what's in the past. They need to see themselves in a new space in order to picture themselves in the space. So now we talk about downsizer. What's the unique mortgage consideration when a downsizer wants to ask you for help?
Well, the best piece of advice that I can offer any downsizer is have access to their existing equity. And that would be in the form of a line of credit. It does not cost anything to have it. You're only charged a competitive rate of interest if you use it. And often you're only using it in the short term. So it could be used from anything from deposits to down payments to actually purchasing the next home outright.
Yes.
Stress-free. You don't have to worry about qualifying for the mortgage, subject removal dates, and it often makes your offers even more competitive.
And actually, most people think when they prepare themselves to downsize, they thought that they would have more money. But it's sometimes not true because renovations can be expensive, cost of moving could be expensive as well, and that's how I prepare my clients before they move, to make sure you know your finance straight, and yeah, basically just prepare yourself for that as well, because sometimes, most of the time, it is correct, it is true that it's become less expensive to afford a new home, but there's a lot of cost involved, and line of credit like that actually gonna help a lot.
Absolutely. It gives you so much more opportunity, so much more flexibility, and more opportunity, more flexibility usually means less stress.
Exactly, and who needs stress added to this life-changing moments, right?
Absolutely. How do you, just switching gears, how do you deal with upsizers in the same situation?
Well, when we think about upsizing, I'm actually thinking of my own family as well, because I just gave birth to my little beautiful girl.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And now we are actually looking to upsize. And when I think about upsizing, I think long term. And how many bedrooms I would need, how many bathrooms, what about the play area, what about home office that now my husband are now moving to home and working from home, and what is the proximity to school, and what are the catchment, like what's a high school, because when we move now, upsizer doesn't want to move every 5 years. They want probably a little bit longer so that their family can grow in the area. And yeah, I think location is key, right? A proximity to parks, schools, or amenities like community center that can allows them to enjoy so many different. It makes a difference in daily life for sure.
Well, definitely, like for upsizer, what do you think would be the unique consideration for the homeowner to use their equity towards the next home?
So for upsizers, just as critical to get in front of a mortgage professional, because there's a number of factors to consider. Number one is, do you have the liquidity for the deposit on the next home? Do you have to sell your home before you can buy the other home? Or can you carry both properties? And this can easily be determined with a visit to your mortgage professional, because it makes a big difference when placing offers on the next property, whether you have to sell your existing.
Yes. Well, for us, we definitely don't want to sell if we don't have to sell, right? And having that line of credit will make a big difference in order to bridge. Is it called the bridge finance?
So bridge financing is a little different. The only time you can get a bridge loan is if you have a firm agreement of purchase and sale on your existing property. Otherwise, what you want to use is the equity in your home in the form of a line of credit. A line of credit, the majority of time, is the least costly way of tapping into short-term funds for things such as deposits and down payments. Bridge loans are actually quite costly. The interest on the bridge loan is quite a bit higher. However, they're short-term in nature, so when they're needed, they're great.
Right.
But all else equal, having an available line of credit and enough equity in that line of credit, enough of a limit in that line of credit is the preferred and more cost savings approach.
And I feel like there's so many options for upsizers, downsizers, first-time home buyer even to go with their finance. And it's so crucial to just sit down and find out which way is the best option.
Absolutely. The only way to do that is to talk to your seasoned, experienced mortgage professional.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Well, what's the one thing that you wish the listener can take away today?
Well, reach out to your mortgage professional.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of buying, selling, if you're a first-time home buyer, if you're an upsizer or downsizer, talk to your mortgage professional so that you can get every option and every factor to consider.
It's almost like going to a doctor and get your finance examined.
It
Right?
is.
Your body is different than other people, and you need to know what would be the best thing for your body.
Yes. And really important not to self-diagnose. So
That's the number one takeaway.
Don't-
Don't self-diagnose.
don't make any assumptions.
Yes.
And just because one lender gave you one piece of advice doesn't mean that's your only option.
That is so true. You have no idea how many clients come to me and be like, I only qualify for 500,000. And then after getting a second opinion, you qualify for 600.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you need to think about and also really talk, not just Zoom. I love that.
Absolutely. Well, maybe you can tell your listeners what are the top 3 things to consider when looking in a realtor.
Well, definitely choose me. Well,
Number
the
1.
top 3 things. Joke aside, I think number 1 is definitely the communication. I think your realtor should be accessible, very transparent, and being honest. Because you need to make sure that your goals long-term also align with what you choose right now. It's almost like a bigger picture, and you have to hit the step, and you need someone to be with you along the way to make sure you hit that target. Second is the market knowledge. Definitely, you need to make sure that that person knows the market very well, the trend of where it's going, well connected to professionals so that the knowledge is there, the insight is super important as well. Relationship with other agents are so important. And last, I think it would be definitely trust. You need someone you can trust so that you can make the best decision of one of the biggest investment in your life.
Absolutely. That was great.
Yeah, but I hope to be that person for you. Lastly, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, what would be the best way to connect with you?
My recommendation, pick up the phone and give me a call.
Perfect.
Telephone is the best way to communicate and connect on such a complex transaction.
Perfect. I love that. Spyro, thank you so much for your time today. And if you have any question, again, please do not hesitate to reach out to one of us. And yeah, we will be in touch for the next episode. Let's hear or comment me below of who you want to see next on the next episode, Speaking with Professionals. Bye. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Spyro.